Want faster computers? Levitating transportation? Dun 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 dun! Superconductors to the rescue. As long as the world you live in is close to absolute zero, that is. See, superconductors are materials with all of these amazing potential applications, but the conditions required for them to work are pretty extreme. It's going to take a lot of work to get us closer to a world where we could use superconductors on the daily, and new research has gotten us just a little closer. Simply put, a superconductor is a material that electricity can flow through without losing a lot of energy along the way. It's a material with no resistance. It doesn't diminish an electric current as the current passes through it. The microscopic structure of a superconductor is like an uncongested highway, letting electrons travel through the material with ease, which is huge, right? That means they can conduct electricity more efficiently than any other material. I mean, imagine electricity buzzing along superconducting wires without losing any energy to light or heat or sound. But these materials don't just get their powers from their particular microscopic structure. They also have to be really, really frickin' cold, like many hundreds of negative degrees Celsius cold. So that kind of cools off a lot of the hype around them. See, a material's conductivity either increases or decreases with a rise in temperature, depending on what kind of material it is. The conductivity of semiconductors and insulators increases with higher temperature because more electrons are freed up to join the current. Whereas for conductors, conductivity increases as temperature goes down. At colder temperatures, there are less thermal vibrations that get in the way of those electrons and keep them from traveling through the material efficiently. Ultra-high pressures are also good at keeping things still enough for electrons to pass through with less trouble. If we could use superconductors in electronics, those devices would theoretically run at perfect or near perfect efficiency. They would output the same amount of energy that's put into them, and that would be super useful, as you can imagine, when trying to get electricity into your home. In the US, we lose about 5 to 6% of our electricity every year during transmission from the grid to your house because of issues like resistance. That's about as much energy as it would take to power about 23 million homes for a year. I mean, what a waste, right? If that electricity was traveling via superconductor, we wouldn't lose any along the way. Think about it another way. You could power a supercomputer without losing any energy to heat, meaning you would have a supercomputer you could do more with, more calculations, more speed, with less energy input because you wouldn't have to cool it off. They also do a really cool thing where if you put them next to a strong magnet, the magnet causes the superconductor to have its own opposite magnetic field, making the superconductor levitate above the magnet. Superconductors and their magnetic capabilities are already used in important medical technology like MRIs, which help doctors see inside your body. But there's a reason getting an MRI is so expensive, and it's because the machine itself is so expensive. And that's partly because the superconductor inside of it has to be kept so dang chilly. So it'd be pretty amazing if we could make a superconductor that works at room temperature, right? So far, the material that's achieved superconductivity closest to room temperature is a rare hydrogen-sulfur compound that maintains its properties at up to a steamy -70 degrees Celsius. But that's only because it was at a pressure of over 1 million times the one we comfortably live at. But despair not. An exciting new research project has unveiled new materials that get us closer to the goal of superconductors that we could use in real life, at room temperature and pressure. The team of Russian, American, and Chinese scientists has now successfully created several new species of uranium hydride. Although these UH materials were made under extreme pressures, the researchers showed that the compound remains stable at much more reasonable pressures, close to atmospheric. And the researchers predict that the characteristics of these compounds they've observed so far mean that eventually an improved version of uranium hydrides could be superconducting at room temperature. No big deal. And just as a little extra dash of awesome, the fact that they were able to predict the existence and behaviors of these compounds and then successfully verify those predictions with their experiments means that their predictive capabilities are pretty solid, meaning they could use the same methods to explore other promising materials and keep searching for the superconductor that could bring us into the future of technology without the limitations of the icebox. For more science in your day, make sure to follow us on Instagram. We're @Seeker, and I'm on there too, @MarinB. And fun fact, several cities in Japan, Korea, and China already use superconducting technology in maglev trains. These trains can reach super high speeds because there's no friction of the train on the track, because the train is floating above the track. So cool! Thanks for watching.